In June 1944, Europe was still under Nazi control. France, Belgium, the Netherlands, much of the continent had been occupied for years. Millions lived under German rule, and Hitler's forces still looked strong. The Soviet Union was pushing from the east, but there was no Western front. If the Allies wanted to end the war, they had to break into Europe. That plan became known as Operation Overlord. On the night of June 5, 1944, the invasion began. Thousands of ships, planes, and soldiers prepared to cross the English Channel. It was the largest military operation of its kind in history. Over 156,000 Allied troops would land in Normandy, France. The world had never seen anything like it. The attack started just after midnight. Paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions in America, along with British airborne units, dropped behind enemy lines. Their mission was to cut German communications, secure bridges, and prevent reinforcements from reaching the beaches. Many missed their drop zones. Some landed in swamps, rivers, or directly into German fire. But scattered groups still managed to carry out missions, blowing bridges, holding crossroads, and creating chaos for the German defenders. At dawn, the naval bombardment and beach landings began. The Allies divided Normandy into 5 beaches. The British took Sword and Gold, the Canadians landed at Juno, and the Americans were assigned Utah and Omaha. Utah Beach went better than expected. Despite rough seas, American forces were able to land with lighter casualties, around 200 killed or wounded. General Theodore Roosevelt Jr., son of the former president, famously led troops at Utah. He landed in the wrong place, but pressed forward, declaring, "We'll start the war from here." Omaha Beach was very different. Defended by some of Germany's best troops, the cliffs and bunkers overlooking Omaha created a killing zone. As American soldiers left their landing craft, they faced heavy machine gun fire, artillery, and obstacles on the beach. Many drowned under the weight of their gear before even reaching the shore. Others were cut down before they could find cover. By mid-morning, Omaha Beach looked like it might fail. Commanders considered pulling back. But small groups of soldiers began finding ways off the beach, blowing holes in barbed wire, climbing the cliffs, and silencing German guns one by one. By the end of the day, Omaha was secured. The price was high, around 2,400 American casualties in one day. In total, over 4,400 Allied troops were killed on D-Day, with thousands more wounded or missing. The scale of loss was immense, but the foothold in France was secure. Behind the lines, medics worked around the clock to save lives. Chaplains prayed with the dying. Civilians in nearby villages watched as the beaches filled with bodies and equipment. The cost of freedom was clear to everyone who saw it. Within days, more than 1 million Allied soldiers poured into Normandy. They faced weeks of hard fighting in the hedgerows of France, but D-Day had cracked Hitler's Atlantic Wall. By August 1944, Paris was liberated. Less than a year later, in May 1945, Nazi Germany surrendered. D-Day became the turning point of World War II. Without it, the war would have lasted much longer, and Hitler might have held Europe for years more. The men who fought on D-Day were not professional warriors. Most were young, farm boys, factory workers, students. The average age was around 19 or 20. Many had never seen combat before June 6, 1944. Yet they faced impossible odds and did not turn back. Among the stories of D-Day are countless acts of heroism. Paratroopers who held bridges against tanks until reinforcements arrived. Soldiers who charged machine gun nests alone. Medics who ran into gunfire to save the wounded. Entire units that were nearly wiped out but kept moving forward. Some towns in America suffered heavy losses. The Bedford Boys from Virginia, part of the 116th Infantry Regiment, lost 19 men within minutes at Omaha Beach. For their small community, it was a devastating blow. Stories like theirs remind us that behind every number were real lives and families. At the top of Normandy's cliffs today stands the American Cemetery. Thousands of white crosses and stars of David mark the graves of young men who never went home. They rest overlooking the beaches where they fought. Visitors come from around the world to walk between the rows, to remember the sacrifice. General Dwight E. Eisenhower, who commanded the invasion, told the troops before they left, "The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you." His words captured the weight of what was at stake. And in the end, they succeeded. D-Day didn't end the war in a day, but it opened the door to victory in Europe. It was proof that freedom could win against tyranny, no matter the cost. The men who stormed Normandy came to be known as the greatest generation. They carried not only weapons, but the hopes of millions. Their courage turned the tide of history, and that is why they are remembered as the heroes who saved Europe.